This video is an ad for OnePlus. Corn pudding is a classic Thanksgiving side dish here in the southern United States. Is it a bread? Is it a cake? Is it a custard? A casserole? Sure, yeah, all of those. Whatever it is, it's good with gravy on it. Sometimes it's just a box of sweet cornbread mix and a can of creamed corn, but since I don't feel like settling when it comes to my Thanksgiving, I've worked up a somewhat more decadent version. You'll notice my wife Lauren is giving you some behind-the-scenes shots today with our new phone from the sponsor of this video, OnePlus. I'll be telling you about that as we go. The OnePlus 9 Pro is a premium flagship Android smartphone. The company's whole philosophy is to never settle on anything, which is why they've partnered with the legendary camera company Hasselblad to capture amazing photos. Check out how nice these camera shots are. So I'm slicing up one bunch of green onions, about 100 grams. Corn pudding is generally sweet, and I think onions help it to taste like not a dessert.
Got a nice shot of your guns.
Thank you, dear. The white and semi-white slices go in the mixing bowl. I'll reserve the greens for later. A couple fresh red chilies will also cut the sweetness and look real pretty on top. Thin, round slices on those. Note the smooth motion of that OnePlus camera. Lauren's got the super stable feature on. If you don't want your pudding super spicy, stop slicing when you get near the top of the chilies. Most of the capsaicin-producing glands are up there. If you can get a fresh ear of sweet corn, it would be very nice to shuck that and slice off the kernels. Where I live, we can get super sweet varieties until late fall. If you can't, no worries, just drain a little can of sweet corn or use frozen corn. I've got like a cup of whole kernels there, 100 grams, and half of them go in the bowl. Then it really wouldn't be corn pudding without two 15-ounce cans of creamed corn, 850 grams total.
Cream corn is disgusting.
Don't say that.
I mean, it's fine if you feel that way, but the sweet, starchy goo in these cans is a phenomenal binder and moistener in a cake or a casserole. One more processed delight, a 14-ounce, 400-gram can of sweetened condensed milk. That's not exactly traditional, but milk and sugar are traditional, and this is milk and sugar, but better. I'm gonna crack in 4 eggs. That's really what makes this custardy. Some people would use even more. I can't get over how that OnePlus camera moves smoother than my giant camera does with all its expensive stabilization hardware. She's just holding it in her hands. All right, for dry ingredients, I'm doing a cup of cornmeal, 150 grams. If you want your pudding less bready, you can cut this in half. I'm using a quarter cup, 30 grams of cornstarch. Some recipes call for all-purpose flour. Instead, I think that pushes the texture fully into the realm of cornbread. The starch gets you a pudding texture. 2 teaspoons of coarse salt, maybe 10 grams to help balance the sugar. To give my pudding a Thanksgiving stuffing vibe, I'm doing a teaspoon each of dried sage and dried thyme. Those are the stuffing herbs. And then I'm doing a heaped tablespoon of baking powder for leavening, maybe 12 grams. Last ingredient.
For the fat in the pudding, you could use butter, you could use oil. What I have here is rendered turkey fat, which I saved from a thing.
Gross.
And we're going to use that instead.
Gross but delicious.
Pretty much, though melted butter would be traditional and very good as well. About half a cup of fat, 115 grams maybe, which would be like a stick of butter. And you might as well use whatever fat you're using to grease up the pan. I've got a 9 by 13 inch casserole here. You could do this in a smaller pan if you wanted it thicker. Time to just stir this batter up until reasonably smooth. It's as simple as that, and in it goes in the pan. It should look very loose. If it's thicker than pancake batter, you're going to get cornbread, not corn pudding. And just because it's for a holiday dinner, I'm being fancy and scattering my onion greens on top with my red chili slices and half of my fresh corn kernels. Very festive. And in it goes to an oven at 375 Fahrenheit, 190 C for about a half hour, which, believe it or not, is all the time it takes to charge this phone up full. The OnePlus 9 Pro has the fastest charging solution in North America, 1 to 100% in 29 minutes. Oh, check out Lauren doing phone selfies. The pudding is done when it's a little brown on top and it looks and feels barely solid. It should not be as dry on the inside as bread or cake would be. What I like about this corn pudding is that it's an all-in-one Thanksgiving side. You could have this and no other sides. It's your bread, it's your stuffing, it's your vegetables, it's sweet like a sweet potato side, and it's great with gravy on top. Or in this case, some turkey demi-glace that I made. I'm not a fan of gratuitous sauce drizzling shots, but the slow-mo function on this OnePlus camera just had to be tried. Smash that subscribe button if you want to learn how to make that demi-glace. I'm posting that recipe in a couple of days. And check out the OnePlus 9 Pro, a flagship Android phone with a very powerful Hasselblad camera. Check out the portrait mode for those sexy, blurry background effects. And check out that zoom. It's like a microscope. OnePlus says you should never settle. Not on your phone, not on your Thanksgiving. They've got a whole site with other side dish recipes linked in the description. Thanks to OnePlus for their sponsorship, and have a sweet and savory holiday. Maybe a little spicy too.